Let's do IXL 7th grade AA.11. Go to Learning. Go to 7th grade. And then go to AA.11, Surface Area of Cubes and Prisms. What is the surface area? So we want to find the area of every single face of this cube and then add them all up. So if we took this face right over here, then to find the area, it would just be 5 times 5, right? So 5 times 5 is 25. That was centimeters, this is centimeters, so that would give us square centimeters. Okay? And the area of, well, actually for a cube, all of these faces are exactly the same area. So this and this and this, the front, the back, the top, the bottom, the left and the right, they're all the same area. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom would be 4, the back would be 5, and the right would be 6. So really what we need to do here is take this 25 and multiply it by 6. And that's going to give us 150 square centimeters. You don't really have to worry about the units because IXL already tells you that the units for the answer should be square centimeters. You just have to worry about this number here, which is 150. Here, what's the surface area? So again, it's the same idea for this. If we have a cube, then the area of this face over here is going to be 9 times 9, which is 81 square yards. But we have 6 faces that are all the same. The front, the back, the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. That's 6 faces that are all the same size. Each face is 81 square yards. So to find the surface area of this whole thing, we need to take 81, and we have to multiply it by 6, and that's going to give us 486 square yards. Right? Okay, so again, it's the same thing. Same thing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump a level. What is the surface area of this triangular prism? So it's called a triangular prism because, first of all, it's a prism because it has 2 bases which are identical. This base, and you can imagine a base in the back being identical to this, and the rest of these sides are rectangles. So it fits the definition of a prism. And it's a triangular prism because this is a triangle here, and in the back it's also a triangle. You don't actually have to name it to be able to do this problem. We just have to calculate the surface area. So the first thing that we're going to do, actually it doesn't have to be the first thing, but we're going to find the area of this base here, and that is a triangle. So if you recall, if you go back, what page is it on? Page 12 on the reference pages. To find the area of a triangle, it's length times height divided by 2. Okay? Or instead of saying length, I'm going to say base. So base times height divided by 2. So the base is 6. The height is 4. It's a little hard to see because I drew over it, but there you go. So you see this height over here, there's a little arrow here pointing to this, telling you that it's 4 inches. So the height is 4, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So we get 24 divided by 2, which is 12. So the area of the base is 12 square inches. But wait a minute. This base over here is the same as the front base. So if this is, we just figured out this is 12 square inches, then this must also be 12 square inches. Now let's go ahead and calculate the area of the rectangular faces. So to calculate the area of a rectangle, it's very easy. It's just going to be the length times the height, or the base times the height. That's how we calculate the area of a rectangle. So all we have to do for this one is 10 times 5. So 10 times 5 equals 50. So that means that the area of this face over here is 50 square inches. But wait a minute. This rectangle is the same as the rectangle. Even though you can't see it, you know that it's there. There's a rectangle in the back here, which is exactly the same as this rectangle. Do I know it's the same? Yes, I know it's the same because it says that this is 5 inches here. And this 10 inches here would be the same as this. So this would also be 10 times 5, which is 50 square inches in the back. Now you have to be careful because there's also a rectangle on the bottom, and the rectangle on the bottom here would not be 50 square inches. The rectangle on the bottom, it is going to be 10 inches long, but it's only going to be it's going to be 6 inches wide. So for the rectangle on the bottom, we have 6 times 10, or 10 times 6, either way, which is 60 square inches. Square inches because this was inches and this was inches, so if you multiply inches by inches, you get square inches. So now to figure out the total surface area, we have to take all of these numbers here and add them all up. So let's do that. We have a 50, we have another 50, we have a 12, we have another 12, and we have a 60. And when we add those all up, we'll get a 4 here, and then 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 6 is 18, so we get 184. These were all square inches. Everything was square inches. And whenever we're adding units, the units stay the same. So this would also be square inches. So we get 184 square inches, which is this one right over here. Okay. Okay, what's the surface area of this prism? Let's do the front. So the front is going to be 10 times 7. So we have 10 times 7, which is 70. That would be square centimeters. And this over here would be, this part is 6, and then this part would actually be 7, because this is the same as this. So this would be 6 times 7. So 6 times 7 is equal to 42. So that would be 42 square centimeters. And what about this over here? Well, this part is 10 centimeters. So this is the same as this, right? Which is also the same as this. So I'll just put it over here. So this is 10 centimeters. And this is the same as this. So this part over here is 6 centimeters. So for this one, we're going to have to do 10 times 6, which is 60. And that would be 60 square centimeters because we multiplied centimeters by centimeters. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and just add all these up. And that's going to give us 172. Right? And that would be 172 square centimeters. These were all square centimeters. Okay, but 172 square centimeters is not the answer. Why is it not the answer? Because we only did 3 sides here. 1, 2, 3. But a prism has 6 sides. It has the front, it has the back, it has the top, it has the bottom. We can't see the bottom. And it has the right and it has the left. Okay? So we can't see 3 of the faces, but they are there. We can only see 3 faces. We can't see the 3 other faces, but the 3 other faces are still there, even if we can't see them. Can we figure out the area of those faces? Yes, we can. And it's actually very easy to do, because the bottom is just going to be the same as the top. And the back is going to be the same as the front. And the right is going to be the same as the left. So we're actually going to have 2 faces which are 60 centimeters and 2 faces which are 42. Did I say centimeters? I meant square centimeters. And 2 faces which are 70 square centimeters. 2 of each of these. So we can either double these and then add them all up, or we can take this number right here and double it. So let's do that. Let's take 172 and double that. And that's going to give us 344 square centimeters. It would have been the same thing if we had doubled all of these. So for example, if I did this times 2, I would get 140. If I did 42 times 2, I would get 84. And if I did 60 times 2, I would get 120. And if you add those up, then again you get 344. So you could do it either way. You could double these and then add them up, or you could add all of these up and then multiply by 2, and you get the same thing. So for all of these, we just multiplied by 2, right, to get those over there. Now the screen is getting cluttered, so I'm just going to go ahead here and type in the answer, which is 344 square centimeters. What is the surface area for this one? Well, this one is the same as the last one. So one thing that, I'll do this one faster. So I need to do 10 times 4, which is 40. That would be this face over here, right? 10 times 4. And then for this one, I would have to do 6 times 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. And for this one, we would have to do 10 times 6. So 10 times 6 is 60. And we're going to add all of these up. That's going to give us 124 square feet. But then we're going to double it. 124 times 2 is equal to 248. Okay. You also could have done 40 times 2 and 24 times 2 and 60 times 2, and that would be 80, this would be 48, this would be 120, and when you add these up, you also get 248, right? Okay, so that would be the surface area. And again, the reasoning behind multiplying by 2 is because we actually have two faces which are 40 square centimeters. So this right side and also the left side, which we can't see, would both be 40 square centimeters. So that's why we're multiplying it by 2. And then the front and the back would both be 24 square feet. And that's why we're multiplying that by 2. I think I said square centimeters before. I meant square feet. And the top and the bottom would both be 60 square feet. So that's why we're multiplying that by 2. So then the area of all these faces put together would be 248 square feet. And by the way, just a little bit of unit analysis here. This 124 is 124 square feet. What are the units for this 2 here? Answer, there are no units for the 2. This 2 is dimensionless. Right? We're just multiplying these by 2 because we have 2 of everything. But there are no units. It's not 2 inches, it's not 2 feet, it's not 2 square feet, it's dimensionless. So if I take something which is measured in square feet and then I multiply it by some dimensionless number, then my answer is also going to be in square feet. All right, I'll do one more triangular prism example, even though we did a triangular prism example. So again, to find the area of a triangle, its length, or I'm going to call it base, because most other people call it base, so I'll just follow everybody else. Base times height divided by 2. So that's how we're going to find the area of the triangle. So the base of the triangle is 12 square yards. The height, not square yards, sorry. The base of the triangle is 12 yards. The height is 8 yards. And then we have to divide by 2. So we would do 12 times 8 divided by 2. Well, 12 times 8 is 96. And then we divide that by 2. So that would be 48. And that would be square yards. Because this was yards and this was yards. So yards times yards gives me square yards. And this 2 here is dimensionless. So I would just end up with square yards. So that means that the front of this prism is 48 square yards. But the front is the same as the back. So we have another part right over here, which is also 48 square yards. And now what about this over here, which happens to be a square? I'm not going to shade over this because I want you to still see the 10. So this would be 10 times another 10. We have a 10 here, and we have a 10 here. So 10 times 10 is going to give us 100 square yards. So the area of that face is 100 square yards. And let's see here. What about the other side over here? The other side, even though it's hard to see, this is actually the same as this. So that would be 10 times this over here, which is also 10. So we're going to get another 10 times 10, which is still 100. So this face over here, which we can't really see, would also be 100 square yards. And now don't forget about the bottom. So there's also a bottom piece of this triangular prism, which is a rectangle. By the way, I was using this formula for this part over here because that was a triangle. But for the rest of these faces are just rectangles. And to calculate the area of a rectangle, it's just, well, it's hard to see now. Here you go, area of a rectangle. It's just the base times the height for a rectangle. So you don't have to worry about dividing by 2. Just go ahead and multiply, and then you're done. So for the bottom part here, that would be 12 times 10. This is 12 here, and this is 10 here. So we would have to do 12 times 10, which is 120, and that would be square yards. Okay, and I think we got everything now. So we're going to have to do 120 plus 100 plus another 100 plus 48 plus another 48. Let's do that on the side. 120 plus 100 plus another 100 plus 48 plus another 48. That would be 16, carry the 1. That's going to give me 3 plus 8, which is 11. Carry the 1, and that would be a 4. I have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 4. So, just check my math here. That's 3 and 11, yeah. And carry the 1, okay. So the total surface area is 416 square yards. This is square yards, square yards, square yards, square yards, square yards. Anytime that we add things that have this, well, you can only add things that have the same units. And when you do add them, the units of your answer are the same as what you added. So that's going to be 416 square yards. Okay. Oh, okay. So now we're going to have to figure out the length of one side. All right, so let's think here. The surface area of this rectangular prism is 240 square millimeters. What is the value of J? So this one is going to be a little bit trickier. So we're going to write an equation for this one. And first of all, let me switch to, so this over here is going, how would we calculate the area of that? That would be 6 times another 6. So that would be 36 square millimeters. And I'm just going to put that over here, 36 square millimeters. Plus, I would have this side is the same as this side, right? Or this face is the same as this face, right? So there would be another 36 square millimeters. And then what about this face over here? Well, that would be, the height here is the same as this. So that would be 6 times the length of the base, which is j. So we don't know what j is, so the best that we can do is just to say 6 times j, or 6j. So let's add that to our running total for the surface area. Let's add a 6j. But we would have another face in the back here, which is hard to see. The back face is the same as the front face. So we would have another 6j that we would have to add if we want to calculate the total surface area. And what about the top? Well, the top over here has a length also of j, because this is the same as this. So it has a length of j and also a width of 6, because this is the same as this. So for this, I would also have to say 6j. So I get another 6j. But then there's the bottom, which should also be 6j. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change the colors around just to... Oh, no. Oh, I didn't mean to erase everything. Oh, good. I can get it back. Okay. Maybe it would be easier if you saw the colors. So we have a 36 plus another 36 plus the front and the back. So I'm going to write it out in yellow now. Plus a 6j plus another 6j, because that's the front and the back were both 6j. And then the top and the bottom were also 6j. But I'm going to switch to blue just so you understand that this 6j and then also the next 6j are both coming from the blue part, which is the top and the bottom. Now, when we add all of this up, what do we get? Well, we know what we get because IXL told us the total should be 240 square millimeters. So we're just going to write that in over here. Okay, so for this problem, the problem is not to find the total surface area. IXL already gave us the total surface area. We have to figure out how long j is. So now we just have an equation to solve. And what we're going to do first here is combine like terms. So this and this are like terms because they both do not have a variable. They're not like terms because they're both drawn in pink. I just drew them both in pink. They're like terms because they both do not have a variable. So 36 plus 36 is 72. Maybe that's confusing, so I'm going to switch to a color that I haven't used yet. So that's 72 over there. Plus, I have 6j plus another 6j plus another 6j plus another 6j. Don't worry that they're written in different colors. Just worry that they all have j's. So they're like terms, so you can add them all up. And that's going to give us 24j, which is equal to, still have this 240 over here. And now we're going to subtract this. There's like an invisible plus sign here, so we're going to subtract 72 from both sides. So that cancels. And that is going to give us, let's borrow from the 4, that becomes a 3, put a 1 over here. So I get an 8 there. And borrow from the 2, that becomes a 1, put a 1 here. We get a 6 over here and a 1 over here. So we're going to get 24j equals 168. Then the last thing to do would be to divide both sides by 24. And let's see. Would 7 do it? I think 7, right? 24. So 168 divided by 24 should be 7, right? Because 24 times 7 is 168. Yeah. So J, this side over here, must be 7 millimeters. Okay? So let's just click that. We could check that that's the right answer. So I already know that this is 36 and then the back is also 36. But then I know that I have 4 sides which were all 6j. So now we know they're all 6 times 7 because j is 7. So this side and the back side and the top side and the bottom side, 6j, 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 are all 6 times 7, right? J is 7, but 6 times 7 is 42. So this is like saying that the total surface area is 36 plus 36 plus 42 plus 42 plus 42 plus 42, and if you add all of those up, you do get 240. So this is the correct answer. Okay. Okay. Total surface area here, that would be easy for this one. This would just be, for this, just going to do 2 times 2, which is 4. But I can see here, this is a cube. Every single edge is 2 inches. So every single face here is going to be exactly the same. If one of them is 4 square inches, then all of them are going to be 4 square inches. So I'm going to have 6 faces which are 4 square inches each. So we would just do 4, this would be inches times inches gives us square inches. So we have 4 square inches times 6, which is dimensionless, equals 24 square inches. Okay, the surface area of a cube is 726 square inches. What is the length of each side of the cube? Let's draw a picture here. Oops. Here's a cube. Every edge of a cube is going to be the same length. So this is x, and this is also x, and this is also x, right? Everything is x, okay? X, x, just all around. Every single edge length is the same. So if one of them is x, then they're all x, okay? Now, how would we go about finding the area of one edge? It would just be x times x, which is x squared. But just like in the last problem, we have 6 sides here, or 6 faces, I should say, which all have the same area. 6 of them. So this over here is x squared, right? X squared. But the top is also x squared, and the bottom is also x squared, and the front is x squared, and the back is x squared. And the left face over here would be x squared. So we have 6 faces, which are all x squared. So we should do 6 times x squared. And now we're going to write an equation using the total surface area that IXL gave us, which was 726 square inches. So that's our equation, and now we have to solve that equation. So we're just going to start by dividing both sides by 6. So we're going to get x squared is equal to 121. Okay, 726 divided by 6 is 121. So the answer is not 121. X is not equal to 121. The square of x is equal to 121. What does that mean? That means x times x is equal to 121. So we have to think of a number that, when multiplied by itself, gives us 121 as the answer. So, is 10 times 10 equal to 121? No. Is 12 times 12 equal to 121? No. But 11 times 11 is equal to 121. And another way of saying that is, if we take the square root of both sides, here these would cancel, so we get x is equal to the square root of 121, which just means, like we already talked about, what number times itself is equal to 121? That's 11. 11 times 11 equals 121. Technically, actually, the answer to this question could be positive or negative 11, because negative 11 times negative 11 is also equal to positive 121. But the length of a cube cannot be negative 11 inches, right? So we're just going to stick with all positive numbers here. Don't worry about negatives for this exercise. And there's our answer, 11 inches. Each side of a cube is 15 millimeters long. What is the surface area of the cube? So this time, you got to be careful. In the last problem, they gave us the total surface area, and we had to find the length of each side of the cube. In this question, they gave us the length of each side of the cube, and we need to find the surface area. So for that one, the cube would look, again, the cube would look like this, but this time we know that this is 15 millimeters, and this is 15 millimeters, and the same all the way around. Everything is 15 millimeters for this. So what would be the total surface area? We've done problems like this before. It's exactly the same, it's just in words. So it would be, just find, for a cube, every face is the same, and there are 6 faces. So all you have to do is find the area of one face and then multiply it by 6. So to find the area of one face, it would be 15 times 15, which is 225. And then just take that 225 and then multiply it by 6. And that would give 1,350. That would be square millimeters. Okay. Okay. A rectangular prism is 18.6 yards long and 5 yards wide. its surface area is 563.6 square yards. What is the height of the rectangular prism? So let's draw it out. Let's see. 18. Okay, let's say that this is 18.6. So it's 18.6 yards long and 5 yards wide. And we are trying to figure out the height, which I'll call h. So we're going to have to write an equation here, just like what we did a few problems ago. So the thing that we're going to ask ourselves is, how would we find the area of each of the faces? Well, this face over here would be 5 times h. So I would have one side, which is 5 times h square yards. And actually, the back, this part over here, would be the same as this. So I'm going to have another 5h. And what about, let's do this part next. Well, this is just a rectangle, so I don't have to worry about dividing by 2 like a triangle. I'm just multiplying here to find the area. So this is the same as this over here, which is 18.6 yards, times this, which is the same as this, which is h yards. Okay, so the area over here is going to be 18.6 times h. So I would have to add 18.6h, but I would also have to add another 18.6h because this right side is exactly the same as the left side. So they're actually going to be two sides, or two faces. I think I'm using the wrong word. I should say face. Two faces which are both 18.6 h square yards in area. Now, did we miss anything? Yes, we missed the top face, and we also missed the bottom face, which is the same as the top face. So the bottom face, which is hard to see unless you have X-ray vision, the bottom face has the same area as the top face. And to figure that out, well, this is 18.6 yards, and this is the same as this, which is 5 yards. So that would be 18.6 times 5. Let's go ahead and work that out. 18.6 times 5. 40 plus 3 is 43, and that's going to be 9, and 1 over, okay, 93. So I have two faces, one for the top, one for the bottom, which are both 93 square yards. And I ran out of room over here, so I'm going to put the equals sign over here. That's okay. We already know, because it told us the total surface area should be 563.6 square yards. So when we add all of these up, we should get 563.6 square yards. So now what do we need to do? We need to combine like terms. So this has an h, this has an h, this has an h, this has an h. So we can add all of these up. And let's see here. 5 plus 5 is 10. That wasn't too hard. 18 plus 18 is 36. And 0.6 plus 0.6 is 1.2. So 36 plus 1.2 is 37.2. Plus 10 is 47.2. So we're going to have 47.2. What did I forget? The h plus 93 plus 93 is 186. And that should be equal to, just keep this the way it was, 563.6. Then we're going to subtract 186 from both sides. We get 47.2h equals, I can put a 0.0 here, so 6 minus 0 is 6. And then we're going to borrow from the 6, that becomes a 5, put a 1 here. 13 minus 6 is 7. Keep the decimal. 5 minus 8, we can't do that. We need to borrow from this 5, that becomes a 4. Put a 1 here. 15 minus 8 is 7. And 4 minus 1 is 3. So we get 377.6 equals 47.2h. Last step, divide both sides by 47.2. So we get h is equal to, let me think, see, let's do a little bit of estimation. So this right here is approximately 50, and this is pretty close to 350, so it should be about 7. I would estimate 8, and let's see if that works. If I do 47.2 times 8, then I would get 56 plus 1 is 57. 32 plus 5 is 7, right? 1. Is that what I was looking for? Yeah, I wanted 377.6. So that means that this divided by this is 8. So the height of this rectangular prism is 8 yards. Not square yards. Square yards would be for area. Just yards, because it's just a one-dimensional thing here. Area is two-dimensional. Length is one-dimensional, and a height is a length. There we go. Okay, I think we did problems like this. So I am going to end it there. Let me know if you need anything, and have a great day.